What's up, guys? It's been 5 months since I made a video. Wow. Anyways, today we'll be talking about two very basic, simple moving averages, right, and pretty much their relation to one another. And I'll give you my thoughts on what I do expect to happen in the next few months. Again, just my opinion. Doesn't have to happen. All right, so we're gonna be talking about the cyan one, which is the 100 simple moving average, simple, right? And then the 200 simple moving average is the red one. So I'll hide the other ones. That way we won't get too confused. So give these guys a break. And let's just focus on our main stars for today. Why did I pick these two? Easy. So on the cyan one, which is the 100 simple weekly moving average, remember it's a weekly moving average, right? This one has functioned as support on 3 different occasions, right, for this time frame. That's a good sign. Now here's when everything kind of went south and went bad. When we had a weekly closure underneath of this, right, the candle, right? So the candle closes underneath of it. Immediately the next week, we test over here, which is a 200 weekly exponential moving average, right? These are very different. The exponential places a higher weight on recent data, therefore it is higher in value in a bull market. And we can argue all day about have we been in a bull market or a bear market. I'm not here to do that. I'm just here to give you price direction predictions based on my quote unquote feelings. I'm joking. My expertise and my data analysis, right? Because I'm so good. I'm joking. All right, so so when the 100 gets broken, it is often with a high probability chance that the red, right, the 200 weekly simple gets tested. The only issue is it doesn't have to happen immediately, right? It could take 4 weeks, it could take 6 weeks, it could take 8 weeks, it could take 12 weeks. The lesson is the market can become irrational or be irrational longer than you can become solvent, okay? What that means is just because you do something doesn't mean the market has to turn immediately. You do not control the market. The market doesn't give a F about what you think. So let's just remember that. So let's talk about little facts here. We've had 8 weeks of constant downtrend, right? Just down, down, down. We can just measure it just for, fun, right? So about negative 35% over 7 days, about 50 days. Usually when you see something like this, right, there should be a bounce. There could be a bounce. However, let me preface this by saying it doesn't have to happen immediately. Again, if I had a guess, if you pointed a gun to my head and said, "Hey, Pancake, tell me, your best opinions and thoughts where you think this would happen," I believe after this month, right? So sometime in June. Simply why? Because options will expire, right? Options hedging, whatever you like to call it. Options will expire at the end of the month, at the Friday of, okay? And what I do expect is I do expect a bounce. Now here's the only fun, weird thing, depending on your perspective. There's a lot of overhead resistance. What that means is, at certain prices, people will be looking to sell, and I'll mark them on here for you. You might like them, you might not. The first one's going to be 31,000. Second one's going to be about 33,000. These aren't exact figures. These are just, approximations. About the next one will be about 35,000. The next one's going to be 38,000 roughly, and the next one's going to be like 40,000. I think that should cover it for the immediate ones, right? So you can see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 overhead resistance levels that Bitcoin has to overcome, right? Just to get back into 40,000. Now, I didn't even list out the resistance levels at 40,000, right? So there's a lot of work to do. And now, here comes the fun part. Before we get to the 200, before the price drops down there, I do anticipate a bounce within 2 to 4 weeks from now. Sometime in June, I don't know exactly when, but I am anticipating somewhat of a bounce. So let's just hypothetically go through what it could look like. Maybe we can touch down here, test at 27,000, go a little bit sideways, right? And then we start moving up. Now here's the hard part, right? When we start moving up, people will say, "Guys, look, it's a double bottom, blah, blah, blah. Like we had 2 weeks here. We're gonna, and the higher we go, the higher we do bounce, the more people will be inclined to think that, the bear market is over and it's all sunshine and rainbows and we're just gonna, go to 100,000 from here." So let's just be rational here. Again, there is a lot of resistance, okay? And let me remind you that the previous support levels are now our resistance levels, okay? And I guess I might as well put all my moving averages back because let's just call it what it is, right? All these moving averages up here, right? These guys, these lines here, these colored lines, look over here. They were our support levels, right? When we were 100% in a bull market, right? Like look at these, okay? So these were our support levels down here. Now when we're in the opposite market, these will, in fact, act as a resistance level, right? When we get to these points, most likely we will see some type of sell-off or people taking profits, okay? And it's not because they hate you and they hate the bull market. That's just how the game is played, right? In a different environment, you have to change what you're doing. Let me get rid of that ad real quick, right? So again, let's just go back to my little prediction. The higher we get, the more likely it is a sell-off, okay? And then people be like, oh, it's just a dip, so we gotta buy it, guys. But look, there's another resistance here, and it dips, and then people get frustrated. It goes a little bit sideways, and we're just going sideways, and people get mad, and then it'll be a perfect time to drop, right? And again, it doesn't have to be this violent, okay? But I do anticipate before we touch this 200 weekly moving average, I am anticipating somewhat of a bounce, okay? How high does the bounce go? I don't know. It could go all the way to like $48,000, right? And we would still technically be in a bear market, because again, all we've been doing is making lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, right? Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. It's not a good thing, right? So if we don't get anything above 46,000, I would say technically we would still be in a bear market. So again, there's no 100% yes or no's or wrongs or rights in this market. It's just the probability of us going above $46,000, closing above it. It's not that high until we at least test this point, because there's a lot of hungry people here that want their orders filled, right? And again, it doesn't have to happen overnight. This could happen over the next for the rest of 2020. We could be in this, zone. We could just be trading sideways for a very long time. And again, I understand that would make some people very upset, but that's just how markets are, guys. Don't take it personal, okay? That's just how the game's played, right? And I understand it is crypto. Things go up and down a lot, but there are days when they'll just do absolutely nothing, and you have to be ready for that. So, again, just my opinion. This is not financial advice. This is only for educational and informational purposes only. Again, just to recap, I really only use the the moving averages, right? And again, we are on a weekly time frame. I want to remind you, right? On a weekly time frame, usually it could take a month or two to play out on what I said. I'm not talking about a daily, right? The daily looks a lot different. Right now for this video, I don't care about the daily too much, right? I'm focusing more on a weekly. Maybe in another video sometime in the near future, I'll go over the daily. But right now, right, the eventual target before I think we can ever get back into a bull market is the red, right, 200 weekly simple moving average. Once we break that, the next goal, or somewhat of a goal, is to conquer these resistance levels, and then eventually make our way back to 47,000, 48,000, and make a higher high, right? Again, we won't technically make a higher high until we break the all-time high, but breaking the previous lower high would be a good positive step. However, it might not even occur towards the end of this year, okay? That's just my honest opinion, so I know some people don't like it, they don't like to hear stuff like that, but that's why you guys like my channel, right? Because I give you my honest opinion. And again, I could be wrong. Like, we could wake up the next morning, right? And we could wake up the next morning and everything's just back to normal. I don't see that likely, though, but, why am I doing everything? I don't know, because it looks fun. Anyways, just a recap, right? Cyan colored, 100, red, 200, weekly moving average, 100 weekly moving average. When the 100 gets broken, it is often that we do test the red, the 200 simple weekly moving average. But because we've been down for about 8 weeks, I do anticipate somewhat of a bounce. Remember, the blue lines do represent a resistance level. So if it does bounce, right, you buy the dips, you sell the rips. Again, you don't have to trade. I wouldn't recommend you trade. I would just recommend you Just place orders, place limit orders near the 200 moving average. It's not a guarantee that you get filled because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are placing orders and are stacking orders over here. But I would rather buy, towards the $20,000 level than buying at the 46,000 or $36,000 level. And people are like, everyone's saying, "This is it, guys. We're gonna hit $100,000 because my feelings say so, and everything's gonna be all right." Okay, we don't live in a fantasy land. I'm just saying, people will do that. I promise you. If we do get back to these levels up here, people will say like, "Oh my God, guys, we're at $40,000 now, and it's just gonna happen. We're just gonna hit 100,000 no matter what. Like it's just in the books." And when people say stuff like that, you should be very scared. And I hope people do learn that, but it sucks. We're social creatures, and we often listen to people that we shouldn't be listening to. Again, I could be wrong, but hey, guys. Have a great day, have a great night, have a great morning. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.